Hey guys, Natasha here for Complex News, and I am sitting next to Hebru Brantley. Congrats on the Bape collab. So
Thank
exciting.
you.
How did this collaboration come to be?
Through a friend of mine who owns Store Social Status. You know, like, you know, you always have those people like, man, I know such and such. I'll hook you up. I got you. He was the first person to actually.
Wow, he actually followed through.
Yep.
How long was that process?
Well, I think because, you know, again, I followed the brand for so long.
Yeah.
I've always had an idea of what I wanted to do. The process in terms of from concept to design was pretty fast.
Okay.
It's just, you know, again, Bape having, you know, their schedule throughout the year, knowing what they were going to do when certain things were dropping. It was just a matter of doing something I really am not a fan of, is waiting, you know, so it's just playing the waiting game, that's all.
The characters that you guys use in, you know, all of your garments are just so recognizable. You have Flyboy, Lil Mama. Can you give us sort of the origin story and what those characters represent to you?
Flyboy kind of came about years and years ago. In terms of the populace, in terms of characters that exist in animation and cartoons, there's no diversity, there's no color, you know, and so the goal was just to create a character of color, but then also to give it some sort of historical context, some meaning, you know, not just the character for character's sake. So I kind of landed on the Tuskegee Airmen and, you know, modernize what and who they were. And the Tuskegee Airmen, for those that don't know, was a World War II fighter battalion of all black soldiers. I felt like their history and their lore was really prevalent enough to sort of make something from that. So that's sort of where the idea of Flyboy came from. Flyboy is kind of my Mickey Mouse or my companion, you know, or Dob. And so to give him that counterpart, you have Lil Mama, which was sort of like an amalgamation of like all the little girls that I grew up around, and they used to like terrorize me, beat the hell out of me, you know, and like we're just as tough as the boys, you know what I mean? And just rough and tumble, you know, kind of take no shit.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of what Lil Mama has become.
And what was the best part about bringing all those characters and the motifs together? You
know, being able to not only, you know, collab, but then to have the people that I'm collaborating with be, you know, so genuine, so open, so cool. Like, you know, that's rare.
Now, I already told you my favorite piece in the collection, but what is your personal favorite?
My personal favorite would probably be the hoodie, just because I've always wanted to have a Bape hoodie. And ever since I've been doing Flyboy, like, I'm like, yo, I want to put the goggles up there. So for that to actually be a real thing now, it's pretty cool.
Do you think that the fans of Bape are going to gravitate towards that more? Or what do you think the fans have in store when they walk in these doors today?
It's one of those things, like every time I create something, usually the things that I fall in love with are the things that people, you know, they're you know, they're kind of ambivalent about, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they just love all of it.
You know, we sort of touched about Chicago, and I think that there's so much art and culture and style there, but the same can be said about Japan as well. How do you think that that blend of cultures from, you know, those two different places came together with this streetwear collection?
Fashion is art, you know, and it's all relative. So I think, you know, again, I have an appreciation for it. And always have. And so, you know, I would like to think I have somewhat of an eye, you know, and again, you have the sensibility of Japan streetwear and fashion, you know, which is amazing. So, you know, again, to be a part of that, you know, and exist within that is a great compliment.
Can you see yourself continuing down this streetwear route?
I would love to. I mean, it's fun for me. I create, you know, I make paintings and sculptures, et cetera, but to be able to veer left or right sometimes and explore in another space is always fun.
What's like the biggest difference, do you think, from like painting and sculptures to creating for fashion?
Painting and sculpting and studio work is more of an intimate process. You know, it's more of just me and that thing. I engage with just that, and you know, with fashion and things like that, it's more, again, it's the collaboration. It's involving more parties. You know, you have a few more opinions. It's a process all the way through with others, as opposed to when I'm creating something, it's me and that thing, and then I involve others at the end, you know, to kind of get feedback. We talk through certain things. So it's a lot. It's a big difference.
What are some personal experiences that you've had in your life that sort of translated into those things being a huge theme for you?
I think everybody is a fan of the time in which they grew up. You know, like those things that like resonate with us for whatever reason, whether it's music that came in our lives at a certain time, movies, you know, people, For me, it's like those are the things that sort of grew me and grew my taste and my sensibility in art and the things that I do. So I'd be foolish not to lean on those things as I create and I make, certain things, whether again it's a collab or if it's a painting or a sculpture. So I think it inherently plays at everything I do.
What advice would you give to artists coming up who are trying to paint what they know as opposed to, just soaking in and consuming and then throwing it out?
I think it's the hardest thing for a young artist to find themselves. They need to go through a lot of stealing, like a lot of biting, like look at those that, do things that resonate with you, and then also start to figure out why that resonates with you. What about what they do grabs you and motivates you to do what you do, and pull from that.
Well, thank you so much.
For
Congrats
sure.
on the collab.
Thank
and
you.
Excited to see what's next.